Welcome to First Impact, a weekly podcast where we talk about the 90s anime series Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm Jordan, and with me is my co-host Jen. We've got a bit of a different episode this week. We'll be talking about two episodes in a little bit more of a interspersed fashion, because our second episode we watched this week was Weaving a Story, a recap episode for the most part.
Yep.
The first episode is Lilliputian Hitcher, originally aired on December 27th, 1995, written by Hideaki Anno and Mitsuo, directed by Tensai Okamura. The other episode is Weaving a Story, originally aired on January 3rd, 1996, written by Hideaki Anno and directed by Masahiko, Ohtsuka, and Ando. So first up, we watched Lilliputian Hitcher, which was a little bit more of a adult-centric story for
definitely.
the most part. They, after a little bit of an interlude at the start with the three pilots having to be stripped down and thoroughly disinfected.
Having to be. Yeah, okay. We'll just...
Yeah, very, very, very thorough.
Yeah, right.
They're put into the simulation bodies for a harmonics test without their plug suits.
Right. They're trying to see if the pilots, can pilot the units without having to wear those jumpsuit things.
Yeah, the plug suit.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a harmonics test, is what Dr. Akagi says.
Right.
And the reason being that they want to continue to progress the technology of the Evangelion instead of just letting it... Just because they're having successes doesn't mean they can't push the technology further.
Yeah, the test.
Shortly after the tests start, they start detecting signs of corrosion that's breaking through the various sort of protein walls that protect this particular facility that they're in, the Pribnow box.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. It's sort of dawned on me with this episode what would have to be involved in having a facility like NERV, because you have to have the nature of the units, which are partly organic.
Yep.
You have to be quarantined, antivirus, antibacteria, it needs to be really sterile environment, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're using a lot of words throughout the series to really convey the more almost medical sort of conditions that they use everything in.
Well, we've heard first mention this episode of the Pribnow box,
yeah,
which we looked up, and what does it mean?
Well, it's the site on a prokaryotic cell that initializes like the RNA process.
Right. So it's a whole lot of DNA, RNA, bio words being thrown around.
Yeah, which
definitely,
upon looking at it, really ties in nicely to the sort of what the angel of this episode ends up being, which is essentially a virus that rapidly sort of consumes and evolves to sort of counter whatever sort of attack they throw at it.
Smart virus.
Yeah, so the first sign of it is it breaks through the protein wall of the Pribnow box, and it immedately, when they try to laser it, it generates all these little tiny AT fields to protect itself.
Yeah, right.
And
then they got that it was angel.
Yeah, without a question.
No question, it's an angel.
And Ray starts experiencing some like trauma.
Oh, dude, that scream! Remember when she screamed?
The sudden scream, and then
that really was disturbing.
Her arm, or the simulation body arm, like starts flailing around wildly as if like someone's grabbed her arm. They disconnect
Probably
it.
Kaji. Go on.
He's a very forceful guy. Yeah. So they disconnect the arm pretty violently, and the virus like sort of latches to it straight away.
Yep.
And at this point in time, we very much get this sense that it's a organic sort of thing.
Yep.
It corrodes the wall, enters the tank that they're in the liquid.
Yeah, the LCL.
And then latches onto the organic material of the simulation body.
Yep.
And then from this point on, it starts
just goes
to
down.
change rapidly and ends up turning into, like, they show an image of it, what its like pattern type is.
Yeah.
And it looks like a circuit.
That's right.
Yeah. So
a computer virus and an organic virus.
Yeah, it sort of shifts from organic. Well, they try to like kill it using ozone.
That's right.
Like pumping oxygen in. And then it like evolves to like it likes.
Now I love oxygen. Ha!
and they have to cut it rapidly, but
Right.
like it's already too late, and it's started to get into the computer system,
Yeah.
and they go through like the whole rigmarole of like trying to, like disconnect the wires. I can't disconnect the wires.
Do this.
Turn the
Can't
power
do
off.
it.
I can't turn the power off.
Right.
And
Hit it with a hammer.
then it's right into Melchior.
Yes, the first.
Yeah, straight into
yes.
Melchior, one of the Magi.
One of the three Magi, the big supercomputers that run
Which we
shit.
can now confirm thanks to an on-screen graphic that it is not McSwizzledick.
Oh, it's not?
It's Melchior, Balthazar, and Caspar.
And just when all this drama is happening, the worst thing happens is Gendo makes an appearance. Because the whole time they're going, oh man, we don't finish this test. Commander Kari, we're never going to hear the end of it from him.
Yeah,
and then
multiple times.
Multiple characters. And then right when you don't want him to...
The slow rise up.
The slow rise.
Fuyutsuki's like, you got to get this done, otherwise we'll never hear the end of it from Commander Kari.
Yeah. Wait,
oh fuck,
what's
he's
that? Is
right
that the
behind
floor?
me.
Is the floor moving? Yeah. And then he makes his appearance on slow mode as well. This is the first time in the series that we see the dramatic entrance platforms have variable speeds.
It's a quick escape and a slow entrance.
Yeah, right. Sounds like my life.
I almost feel like this episode could have been a series of vignettes of that sort of like very mundane things happening in Nerve HQ.
Yeah, right.
With like, the coffee machine is out of coffee, or, like this is on the fritz. The elevators are on the fritz, and you're like, you've got to get right on it because we will never hear the end of it.
That's right.
When you are the commander of Nerve HQ, you have to run a tight ship.
Oh, man. Yeah, of course. Okay, so Melchior gets contaminated and then starts to bleed over into Balthazar a bit.
Yeah,
then,
immediately starts to hack the next Magi.
And then Ritsuko manages to stop it.
Yeah, she has that like very... she's sort of like, they're all panicking. They're all screaming out what they're trying to do. She's just silent, stone-faced, just staring at the monitors. And then she has the solution. She's like, switch up the frequency every 15 seconds.
That's right. Like the Borg. Like you got to...
Oh, yeah.
Because the Borg adapt to the phaser frequencies. So, you have to sort of have them on a cycle.
Gene Roddenberry, directly influenced by Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so then they manage to stop it, but they're like, it's only going to hold for 2 hours.
Yep.
And then Ritsuko goes into Ritsuko mode. And it's revealed that her mother...
was the brain behind...
The brain behind the brain.
Pretty much.
Behind the three Magi.
Yeah, Masato asked her, like, I thought you were the one who built the Magi system. And she's like, I basically put the finishing touches on my mother's sort of like her plans.
Yeah. And then we get to see the three Magi.
Yeah, we get a very intimate look inside Caspar. So they lift off that box and reveal that it's a sort of like a very archaic sort of, not very digital looking sort of computer. It's like, it's all pipes and like interwoven sort of steel constructs. Very like sort of retro and heavy sort of organic mechanical design.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it almost like, I would say the pipe, even though it's in a sort of rectangular prism, the pipes to me had this sort of brain-like texture. The sort of folds and ridges of a brain.
Yeah.
Which it just condensed inside a box.
Yeah, right.
Like one of those square watermelons. So Masato, she comes to, she gets to sit there in the opening of Caspar while Ritsuko's sort of like working away, and she's like frantically typing. She's lifting all the heavy sort of bits and pieces and moving them around, accessing hidden panels. Casper's like filled with notes left by her mother.
That was really cool. I thought initially when they opened up Casper and we saw those things, I thought we were going to see some tiny little old man called Casper in the back, and here's the Magi and those little post-it notes.
Some like Wizard of Oz shit.
Yeah, they're just like,
they pull a curtain back and Casper is just a man telling them what to do.
I thought those little post-its were like him counting down the days, like a tally of
how
long he's been in prison there. Yeah.
He's just an engineer. They're like, all right, we're finished putting the Magi computers together, lower the cases,
right.
but I'm still in here.
No, yeah. All right, I guess I'll just live here and become a supercomputer.
Amazing.
But
so...
turns out not to be the case.
We sort of see, essentially, that with the notes sort of plastering the inside of Caspar, I get a sense that it's like, this was Ritsuko's mother's, like, life's work. You know, like she dedicated her life to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like it's a crazy wall of like,
Crazy
you know,
wall.
the crazy wall in movies where they've like
Like
got
a
all
mo-
the strings connected to each other.
Like a mood wall or mood board, but a crazy board.
Yeah, when you're trying to
This
like
is my board of crazy.
get to the bottom of a conspiracy,
Right,
the
right,
crazy
right.
wall.
Yeah, okay.
And including in bold scribbled letters, like
screw you.
Ikari.
Yeah, that's right.
So
So no one seems to like Ikari.
a little bit of
Oh, you think a past romance?
yeah. Well, at the very least, some very spurned sort of feelings.
Spurned lover. And wasn't because we learned that the three magi are the three aspects of Ritsuko's mother's personality.
Yeah, at the very end,
One-
they have that D&M together
Right.
about just Ritsuko's mother and the Magi in general.
And it's revealed one of them is her as a mother, one is her as a scientist, and Casper is the one her
As a woman.
As a woman.
Yeah, the way Ritsuko's mother viewed the three Magi as different aspects of herself.
So the one, her as a mother, her as a woman, code for a sexual, being, right? That's where we find the screw you, Ikari one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely the one that's like more of like who she is outside of her roles.
Yeah.
Her as an individual, which is sort of interesting there. Because Ritsuko also says that each of the Magi have, even though they're all based essentially off her mother, they all have slightly different programming so that they come to different conclusions, which is how their system works, is that they have to all be in agreement.
Yes.
Because what the angel's trying to do is as soon as it hijacks Melchior, Melchior initiates the self-destruct sequence. But it needs all three to be in agreement. So it's going to like using Melchior, it tries to hack Balthazar, which it ends up doing. And by hacking Balthazar,
Balthazar's a pushover.
Yeah, I mean, nothing can save him. They like, we're going to cycle the frequencies.
Hey, Bally, I'm going to self-destruct. Man, you in? Fuck yeah, dude.
You know it.
I'm
always one for a party.
Let's get Casper in on this shit. Casper's like, nah, man. Don't. We can't just self-destruct when
if two
stuff
of the
goes
Magi
down.
jumped off a bridge, would you do it?
Exactly. It is a cool concept how we've got, because we've heard about the Magi being spoken about before this episode. Not a whole lot.
The city council defers entirely to them now.
Consult the Magi. And so we know that they're supercomputers, decision-making, and I at least had this image of like cold, calculating, decision-making. But it's interesting that it turns out to be three aspects.
There is like a human element
there's
to
a
it,
human element
and an
to it.
intentional human element.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Again, well, but that's a whole thing.
I think that's where like the idea of the three having to be in agreement comes from, because they have enough of a dissenting opinion on a subject to actually think through things. They aren't just like, oh, well, the obvious answer is, without considering like different elements of that plan. Logic without compassion, is just fear.
Oh, fuck, man. Dropping facts. Dropping poetry.
We'll get to dropping poetry.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
I just want to quickly say that whole thing of, you said a human element to it. That's a whole thing in this series with the nature of the units.
Yeah.
Mechanical, but organic. It's sort of blending.
Well, I want to bring up the parallel there as well.
Yep.
So Ritsuko says that the Magi
they're based off the
are
same...
based off her mother.
Yep.
But that it's a system which is very similar to the Evangelions.
Right.
They themselves are imprinted off people.
Yes.
So we have no real sort of indication of what that means, other than that a lot of Nerve's technology has a lot of crossover.
Yep.
That
what's called Nerve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, yeah.
So we have the Magi.
Yep.
Well, they have like a synthetic brain, which I assume is like her mother, like in the process of sort of like giving her. Well, because she's not there in the show, and you can assume she's either like passed away from old age, at this point, or
the second impact got her.
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, that's pretty much killed everyone else's parents.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like,
I got the sense she was dead.
You could
somehow.
get this idea from the way that it's got a brain. I don't think it's literally Ritsuko's mother's brain.
No,
I think it's like a synthetic one.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the process by which her mother imprinted herself onto it was like a. I mean, Ray's alluded to this idea of a soul
Yeah.
And like
okay.
I wonder like whether they're going with that idea that there's been a transference of soul
Right.
into the Magi.
Possibly.
Because Ritsuko at the very start of the episode, when they're doing the harmonics test,
Yep.
the Magi react really strangely.
That's right.
And she makes this quip about how like, oh, like of course the Magi behave like their creator.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they have this like really like
Classic
weird
mom.
overreaction to something.
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if that might have been like an early detection of the angel
Yeah,
breaching
possibly.
the facility.
Yeah. Okay.
But they sort of just like hand waved it as being like the Magi
Yeah.
reacting to the way the tests are
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So in this episode we have the angel, which is a strange sort of virus-like creature. So it's Iriel,
Okay. Yeah.
which is terror of God.
Really?
Yeah. It's not as straightforward as some of the others in terms of like
Yeah.
easily sort of understanding the etymology from like how they interpreted what the name means and then coming up with like a sort of creative
Right.
way for that to be demonstrated through the angels, either its attack or the way it looks.
Yeah.
It's not as obvious. It's
No.
probably a little bit more of like a leap or a little bit more of a creative way of looking at it to sort of get from point A to point B. But one of the more unusual angels
What I'm more
when they're all so large.
Yeah. Sure.
This is the first angel to meaningfully breach the
Well, that's true.
geofront.
Yeah.
Like,
it gets style points.
Just like straight away, with like no one even knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And it's already in
Oh, dude. Yeah.
in a part of the facility that we've never seen before.
This is the closest that they got, right?
Yeah.
Also, do you think the angel somehow chose this moment, as in when the kids are doing the test, to invade?
Right.
If so, it gets points for that. Opportunism.
I don't know how sort of like cognizant they are of things like that.
Right.
But they launched the units out
Yep.
of the facility because
then,
Gendo
yeah.
decides to like that the Evangelions like are going to be useless in
Right.
fighting this angel.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really say that to anyone. He's
No.
just like, if we lose the Evangelions, like
Yeah.
we're fucked.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Yeah.
And they're like, but we need the Evangelions to fight the angels. And they're like, it's a fucking microscopic virus.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
the Unit 1 going to do? Punch the wall
Yeah.
and get infected?
Yeah, right.
So he gets the units out of the facility.
Get him out of here.
And then the kids are ejected from the simulation bodies.
Yeah, right.
And then it turns out they've been launched up onto a lake.
Yep.
That's where the entry plugs have ended up.
Yep.
And they've just spent the entire episode
Yeah.
in the nude,
Cold,
in these
naked.
pods,
Yeah, right.
just sitting there,
Yeah.
waiting to find out what happened.
Dripping with LCL. Gross. Yeah, so...
Can you really be dripping if you're surrounded?
That's true.
Sort of insight into...
Kaiju makes an appearance in this one.
Yeah, he's obviously up to no good again.
Yeah.
He's doing something in like a random pod that's hanging in a large shaft.
Uh-huh.
And he climbs out of like a little hatch.
Yeah.
He
Like, oh,
hears the warning and
shit's
he's like,
going down.
maybe I should not do this right now.
Yeah.
So like whatever he was up to.
Right.
He
That's
says
put on
work. And
Yeah.
we're sort of already getting that idea that Kaji's work is not the same as everyone else's work.
Kaji's work is never done.
Same with Gendo. As soon as all this shit goes down and he rocks up to the scene,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, yeah, so just tell everyone that everything's fine.
Isn't it
That like this is
interesting?
all routine.
We've got a sense in this series that a lot of Nerve's thoughts or energies are, as well as doing the work that they do, it's also the PR side of it.
Yeah.
That's a very big thing that they have to consider all the time.
Well,
Messaging.
in the episode with Israfel, where the two Shinji and Asuka are
Fail
embarrassed
miserably.
at the start, Masato's got this giant pile of paperwork from like internal
Yeah.
complaints,
The internal complaints was the weird
internal
one.
protests.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the other ones that they list off in all the people who have contacted her with complaints
Was PR
is the PR
Yeah.
department, because like they've
Right.
got another thing they have to cover up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of cloak and dagger sort of
Corporate espionage.
yeah,
what
hand
have
waving
you.
and sort
Right.
of like smoke screening going on from Nerve. So probably shouldn't be a surprise that the
No.
guy in charge of it all is running all sorts of agendas.
Yeah, he's got the big plans. He
But
sees the
yeah,
big
so
picture.
he wanted to cover this particular angel attack up. Not very sure whether it's just because of how serious the breach is,
Yeah.
that it's like right into the geofront,
yeah.
or whether it's because he has other ulterior motives.
Wouldn't be surprised.
But we do get a little bit of that paid off immediately in the next episode, which we will talk about in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, our second episode that we watched was a recap episode,
which you've told me is a thing in anime.
Yeah, so it's definitely more of a byproduct of the production schedule, and getting behind and wanting to release something that's for an episode, but not wanting to compromise the quality of a proper sort of exciting big episode.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Seeing a whole recap. It was good there wasn't the whole episode. It's basically the first half of it.
It's been a while since I've watched these recap episodes. I think in previous rewatches, I might have been tempted to skip through them a little bit because of what they are.
You call yourself a real fan?
Yeah, I know. Fucking charlatan over here.
Yeah, right.
So the idea becomes clear closer to the midpoint of the episode, where it swaps to a debriefing between Gendo and the Seilei committee.
Yes.
And Fuyutsuki's there too.
Who, by the way, is this the first time they've been given a name, these dudes?
I think in passing conversation, they've been referred to as Seilei.
All right. But anyway, they're the colourful dudes. The ones that they all have their own colours.
Where they conference call in
Captain
with
Planet
the hologram.
Style. Yeah, right. Yeah, so the whole recap has been a debriefing.
Yeah, and
which is a cool
some
device.
of the early on, it's just this very sort of black frame with white text saying what happened, and then a shot of what happens, and then it'll be the pilot launches for the first time. It successfully walks despite never being in the unit before. Confronts the third angel, Sakiel, and it
little notes like that.
Yeah, it goes through the early stuff like that, and then it starts introducing some VO explaining what's happening. And as that goes on, it sort of becomes clear that they're one of them is a excerpt from Toji's school essay. About the angel attack and how his sister got injured.
So they're doing little devices like that.
Yeah, trying to make it a little bit more than just a recap. But working around obviously the limitations that they had in place there. I think the first bit is Masato doing a debriefing on what happened with the first angel fight.
Yeah, okay.
And then the third one is Gendo talking to the committee, and then it segues into actually showing it.
When we were watching that whole recap sequence, I thought this is what TV will be like in the future.
Just the highlight reel?
It'll just be a highlight. The actual shows will not exist because our attention spans will be so short.
It'll just be a short note.
Yeah.
A quick shot of the action.
Then this. Right.
Get ready for that world.
The future is now. I'm ready.
So Seilei, they're not happy with Gendo. They believe he's been lying to them.
Yeah. And it's punishable by death, apparently.
Yeah, and we know it's true because he, at the very least, didn't tell them about the previous angel.
Yeah, about the virus one.
Yeah, that he's kept that hidden from them for some reason. Whether he's trying to throw off their numbers, because they're operating by the predictions laid out by the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Which is a bombshell.
Yeah, so it's how detailed are the Dead Sea Scrolls in regards to what they're doing? And does it mention the angels by name? Is that where they're getting the names from? Because, obviously, these are not the Dead Sea Scrolls as we know them. They'll be there was a second Dead Sea Scroll that no one knew about.
Yeah.
So whatever these Dead Sea Scrolls are that they're talking about, these new ones, that's where sort of Seilei is deriving their plan from and working out the sort of order at which things are supposed to happen. So I wonder if Gendo sort of ignoring the last angel attack might be him trying to sort of fuck with their timeline. Yeah. So that they can't keep track of where he should be in terms of his job.
That'd be some
because remember he's got the human instrumentality project is his primary concern.
Fuck, it's Chidamara.
Yeah, and now he's hoodwinked them into thinking, actually, Teach, I got another week for that. You remember you said I got another week on that?
Yeah, you said it was due.
I don't know what this character is. Wisecracking student who always reckons you got an extra week on that, Teach.
Right. Ooh, nice.
I've gone full character.
Yeah, interesting. I like the introduction of this Dead Sea Scrolls thing. That these Seilei guys are working off some grand plan.
Is German for soul.
Is it really?
I don't know if it's German for soul, but it's something for soul.
It's German for soul, is it? I don't know if it's German for soul.
Because there's also
what you
another
said.
organization, I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, called Gehirn,
Oh, okay.
which
I
is
don't think
heart.
so. Oh, all right.
Yeah. And
Heart,
nerve is...
soul, nerve.
Yeah. Nerve is like brain,
Yeah, okay.
heart, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all interconnected.
Like the three magi.
Yeah.
Dude, man.
It's like pottery.
Let's talk about poetry.
Yeah, so we cut from Gendo's meeting with Seilei.
Yep.
Fuyutsuki's there too. To Rei's slam poetry session.
Damn. Yeah, man.
She's philosophy, huh?
Uh-huh.
She's getting right into it.
Yeah. What am I? What is man? Is man a human construct? Who is this person that is not me?
Man is
Who am
blood.
I? Yeah.
Red is blood.
Right,
I don't
right.
like red.
I don't like red.
And just all these sort of like pontificating on the nature of life itself and
nature of
the
existence.
soul.
Mhm.
She's a vessel for a soul. She's just like having a... Well, we were talking about this idea that the entry plug was a bit like a sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
She's like having a full out-of-body experience.
Right. Look, it was cool. Like, always sort of making fun of her, but...
We find Rian Johnson's inspiration for that scene in The Last Jedi with Rey and all the mirrored images of herself.
God, Ray. Dude.
My mind just...
You
I
just
almost
stumbled
fell
upon
backwards off the chair when you said that.
Oh,
I said Rey and didn't even realize what I said.
Are all TV shows and movies constructed by the three magi?
Hollywood just consults the Magi.
Yeah, right. So Ray has a little monologue, and then, I mean, while it was happening, I thought that it was just Ray being Ray, that this is what happened.
We're just getting an insight
Well,
into
yeah,
like,
I thought maybe...
who she is as like a thinking being.
I thought maybe this is what is running through her brain like 24/7.
Yeah.
But no, but then it's revealed they're actually conducting another test.
They're not liking red and not liking blood and the sort of like the trauma and nightmare sort of shit associated with that for Ray. Is that like, you know, the tiptoeing in with the like she doesn't like meat. And it's like, I wonder if some of that is like all connected and it's like the meat because it's like the blood and eating a living creature sort of thing.
Possibly. Oh, yeah.
And
Possibly.
Ray's like got some like, you know, I'm just a vessel for a living soul, sort of like, and then that extending that sort of philosophy out to other creatures. Yeah. Once we get past that sort of like the slam poetry sesh, she's inside Unit 1 this time.
Because at the end of her little monologue, she's saying, I feel the presence of someone who is not me.
Yes.
So, and
then
that's
she
because,
says it smells like Shinji.
Yeah. It's because she's in Unit 1. They're conducting a test to see if Ray can pilot Unit 1 and then also if Shinji can pilot Unit 0.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Ray's,
is an interesting
Ray's
test.
go a lot more smoother.
Yeah.
More
smoothly.
But like more smoothly. But at the end of it, she has that like, is this me?
Yeah.
What am I?
Right.
What are you? And it's like an image of her, an image of Unit 1 when it had its face mask melted off the first fight.
Yeah.
And then the close-up shot of the eye.
Right.
And Ray's looking at it and she's like, is this me? And like, because she's like inside Unit 1 and like obviously having like a weird sort of like disassociation with herself at this point.
Yeah.
Get that really trippy shot of her like with the fisheye lens and her like face is all distorted.
After seeing this glimpse of Ray brain, man, I got the Ray brain this morning. No, she's getting a glimpse of Ray brain. Man, she's really not, traumatized, but she is different, man. Like, she's been affected heavily. We know this, but I've been waiting to see if we ever
You want to see what happened? How far back it goes?
Yeah, well, because remember we saw that part where Shinji rescues Rei, just like Gendo saved her all those years ago, and we get that little smile from her. We get that little bit of humanity, and we're thinking, well, I am at least, are we going to see her sort of come out of her shell? Are we going to see her sort of become like a normal
just
girl?
Fine.
Yeah. Is she going to be okay? After getting this little glimpse, man, dude, I don't know whether... No, I'm serious, man. I'm worried.
She's got a lot of introspection.
Yeah. I don't know if she's ever going to be, normal again.
Well, so going from Rei's test,
Mm-hmm.
we go over to Shinji's test.
Yeah.
And he is in Unit 0.
Yep.
And also trying to do the compatibility test to see if other pilots can pilot them.
So some Dynetics bullshit going on.
Meanwhile, Asuka, who is also just having her
There.
regular, probably synchronization test,
Yeah.
is like, don't we need to see if I can pilot any of the other units? And then Masato is just like, obviously Masato knows something, like the reason for why Rei and Shinji are being sort of like tested in each other's units. And she just sort of like palms that question aside by like, oh, you wouldn't want to do that anyway. You only want to pilot Unit 2. And she's like, yeah,
that's right.
Unit 2 for me.
The whole classic negotiation technique where you make them think it was their idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Masato just dropped.
She's she's a master at like understanding Asuka, and like Masato speaks fluent Klingon because Asuka also a Klingon.
Yeah, right.
It's all about that pride and honor.
Yeah,
so very briefly, he has that sort of observation. Asuka pipes in. She's like, "Are you a pervert?" Masato's like, "You're gonna fuck up the test. If you butt in like this." They silence her. Shinji starts having like I can sense another presence.
Yeah,
I felt it too. And
I sensed it too.
Next thing, the Unit 0 just like starts
berserk.
Yeah, it goes berserk. It's not coming from Shinji.
No.
It's like the unit itself has like triggered into berserk mode.
Yeah, it's rejecting Shinji.
Yeah, and it has a complete
they reckon.
repeat of the first time we sort of see Unit 0 in operation in that flashback where it goes berserk.
Punches
and
the
it's
wall.
specifically trying to punch Gendo.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and this time we've got Rei. She's standing in the window.
Yeah.
And it sort of looks like it's repeating, trying to punch her.
Yeah.
And like once they shut it down, Masato is like, was it trying to kill Rei?
Yeah.
Like, is that what was going on? And Ritsuko's like, I think it was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right, not
Yeah,
everything's
okay,
about
self-centered
you.
much. Yeah, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy the Ritsuko thing.
Well, the fact that she brings it up is like,
Maybe.
I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Because, they don't really put things down for no reason.
That's true. They're all little seeds being planted everywhere.
There's very efficient use of intertextuality. With like, just casually drop the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know,
right.
If you know anything about it, you have a reasonable idea of like what the implication of like sort of using a text like that sort of works. Obviously on the sort of like whole typical Judeo-Christian sort of symbolism that they're using.
Symbolism.
Because I keep accidentally saying symbology. I don't know what happened to me. Like,
what
it
is
just,
symbology? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
That might be the study of symbols.
Yeah, it's just like infected my brain like an angel at some point. And I keep saying it.
Like,
and I'm like, the word is symbolism. What the fuck are you doing?
The first time we saw Unit 0 go berserk way back when, I just assumed it was trying to get out.
Right. That it was just having a freak out.
Yeah.
And the window happened to be there.
Yeah, that's right. But now, possibly.
Now we're starting... Well, it rejects Shinji. Like, as if another presence.
It rejects Shinji, just like he's been rejected by his father.
And like he was rejected by Pen Pen.
Yeah.
And Masato.
Blessing in disguise, mate. If Pen Pen's rejecting you... Not so much Pen Pen in this episode. Anyway, fuck that guy.
Yeah, no Pen Pen.
No Pen Pen.
This episode, it's a hard 0 out of 10 for me.
Did he even appear in the recap? Damn.
Fucking snubbed by the recut editor.
Skate. Maybe.
Hey, should we put this penguin in the...
No.
First of all, his name is Pen Pen. And second of all, absolutely not.
Okay, let's theorize. Do you think it was... What do you think Unit 0 was trying to do?
Well, remember, Jen, we can't wander too close to what I think.
Why's that?
Because I know.
Oh, what? Okay,
I've seen the show.
Oh, that's right. Let's see what I think.
Yeah. Let's wander around in the dark with you.
What are the options? It was trying to kill Rei. It was... Why would it try
I
to kill Rei?
I just want to see this giant list of like everyone who's in the control room and like try your own crazy wall with the like who was Unit 0 trying to kill? Was it just having a freak out?
Maybe it was trying to get to Rei. That's what I mean. I think if anything, it wasn't trying to kill anyone.
Right.
It had some other motivation. I'm trying to read your face right now.
Well, I'm doing that really annoying thing where someone's like, you get that condescension, you get that like, oh, they're patronizing me, and it's like, it's not intentional. It's just the idea of like a parent walking around with a child and not wanting to spoil something for them.
No, I don't think it was trying. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think it was trying to kill anyone.
Okay.
I think it had other
Despite
motivations entirely.
The seeding by the other characters that it was trying to kill someone.
I don't listen to seeds, man. You think seeds?
But the tree of life, the seeds grow the tree of life, and that's in the opening credits.
Yeah, it is.
Think about that.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't think I was trying to kill anyone. It had other motivations. We'll see what those are.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of way to approach a recap episode, ultimately.
Yeah.
It starts, like, the majority of it is the recap, but at least with that framing device and then using the sort of, here's a way for you to finally get your trying to call everything a bottle episode. I guess this recap is the closest you can get to a bottle episode because, one, they tried to keep the costs low by setting it all in one place. It's all set in the testing area.
That's true.
And two, we also have the fact that the first half is literally a recap episode, which is another classic sign of a recap. Oh, sorry. The recap is a classic sign of a recap. No, of a bottle episode trying to keep those costs down.
And 3, every episode's a bottle episode when Pen's around because he's an alcoholic.
You're right.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Masato.
No. Well, yes, but I think she's just a pawn. Pen's the enabler.
I just want to touch back on the previous episode with the cold coffee.
Oh, yeah,
Masato just walks in, picks up any coffee that's like sitting on the table, picks it up, like she says something to Ritsukan's like, now for a victory sip.
No.
It's fucking cold.
Well, she's a major now. She has first dibs on all coffee.
That allowed you to like enter the room and just take
Masato,
cups.
Masato, not just, hey, you say enter a room.
Oh yeah, she comes up in the lift.
She gets her own dramatic entrance device now that she's a major.
We now know what rank you have to be to have access to that internal network of amazing entrances and exits.
Yeah.
For now, you can find me on Twitter at It's Got Stealth, and old Jen, you will never find him.
I'm like a virus, man. I'm there, but I'm not. I'm in the shadows.
Thanks for listening.